former French serviceman has been detained in Madagascar for allegedly taking part in a plot to destabilise the island. Authorities say prosecutor Nominarinera Mihamintsoa Ramanantsoa said the French national had been charged with multiple offences, including criminal conspiracy and plotting to sabotage infrastructure such as power lines and thermal plants.
For generations of football fans, no World Cup would be complete without the thrill of opening a packet of Panini stickers and discovering Zico, Franz Beckenbauer, Diego Maradona or Lionel Messi staring back. Since Italian company Panini's first sticker collection at the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, trying and usually failing to complete the set has been an obsession for young fans around the globe, with playground swapping mandatory.
And the families of victims of a school shooting in a remote Canadian Rockies town are suing artificial intelligence company OpenAI in a United States federal court and alleging that the ChatGPT maker failed to alert police to the shooter's alarming interactions with the chatbot. A lawsuit filed on Wednesday on behalf of 12-year-old Maya Gabala, who was critically injured in the February shooting and is among the first of more than 24 cases from families in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, in what their lawyers say represents an entire community stepping forward to hold OpenAI accountable.
President Donald Trump's critics and free speech advocates in the United States are decrying a decision by his administration to review the broadcast licenses of several ABC channels, calling the move Federal Communications Commission, FCC, announced on Tuesday, followed Trump and his wife, Melania, calling for the firing of ABC host Jimmy Kimmel over a joke he told last week.
And the United States Supreme Court ruled that Louisiana's electoral map was unconstitutionally drawn to create 2 black majority districts. The decision announced on Thursday represented a major interpretation of the landmark U.S. Voting Rights Act. In particular, its provision meant to protect minority voters from having their political power diluted. It is set to benefit Republicans amid a wider battle before the midterm elections redistricting before the midterm elections in November. And after decades of membership, the United Arab Emirates has decided to quit the oil producers group, OPEC, in order to focus on national interests and forge its own path, it has said. The move is seen as a major blow to the Vienna-based oil cartel, but will not spell the end of it altogether. Observers say the UAE's decision to quit comes after years of open dissatisfaction with the oil cartel's policy of capping members' production as a way to control prices and stabilize the market.
SpaceX Board of Directors has approved a performance-based compensation plan for Chief Executive Officer Elon Musk that keeps his salary fixed at $54,000 per year unless the company achieves its long-term goal of building a permanent human settlement on Mars. Both Musk and his pet company are preparing for what is expected to be one of the largest initial public offerings in modern world history.
The Privatization Commission has approved the transaction structure and restructuring plan for the privatization of Zarai Tarakiati Bank Limited, marking a key step forward in the government's divestment program. The decision was taken during the 251st meeting of the Privatization Commission Board, chaired by Mohammed Ali. The board endorsed the proposed structure after detailed deliberations with the aim of maximizing value for the government of Pakistan. South Waziristan. Mortar shells fired from across the Pak-Afghan border injured 5 people, 4 children and a woman in the Angor Ada village of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's South Waziristan district on Wednesday, according to security sources. The sources said that the shells struck the homes of 2 residents of the village and that the injured children were between the ages of 3 and 13.
And New images included in a memorandum filed by the US government show Cole Thomas Allen, the man accused of opening fire at a White House correspondents' dinner last weekend, with weapons in a hotel room before the attack. Prosecutors submitted the photos along with new details of the suspect's activities before the 25th of April incident in their motion to keep Allen detained pending trial. And French prosecutors have launched an investigation into the reappearance of a website known for facilitating the crimes of Dominique Pellicot, who recruited dozens of strangers to rape his wife, Giselle Pellicot. Its precursor, Coco.gg, was an unmoderated platform offering registration-free access to chat rooms with French authorities linking it to sexual abuse of children, drug offences, rape and murder.
They're your friends, your colleagues, your family members, or maybe someone you read about. They are CNN heroes, each of whom shows how one person can truly make a difference.
The United Kingdom has expelled a Russian diplomat in response to Moscow's expulsion of a British embassy employee last month after he was accused of spying. The UK government informed Russia's ambassador on Wednesday that it was revoking the accreditation of an unnamed Russian diplomat after the unjustified decision to expel the British official and the malicious public smear campaign that followed.
Madagascar has detained a French serviceman over an alleged plot to destabilise the island and also declared an agent at the French embassy persona non grata over acts linked to the destabilisation investigation. Deputy Prosecutor Nominarinera Mihamintsoa Ramanantsoa said in a video statement released late on Tuesday that the former French national serviceman Guy Barret had been placed in pre-trial detention at Siafahi Maximum Security Prison.
And an inside look at Grenoble 40 years after the disaster. The exclusion zone remains radioactive, now shaped by war. From deserted cities to returning wildlife and rising military risk, what's unfolding there today raises urgent questions about nuclear danger and what the future might hold in this episode. And Mike Vicic grew up in Michigan. His family, he recalls, dedicated their lives to public service. His parents were teachers, his uncle a fighter pilot, while both sets of grandparents served in the army. Growing up, and public service was always a really admirable way to spend one's life and one's career, he told TechCrunch. I have 3 young kids. I want them to grow up in a country where government can actually get stuff done. And he went on to work in consulting, then launched a consumer company that he sold to Olo for $200 million back in 2021. After his wife gave birth to their 3rd son, he and Brandon Max, a founding engineer at his last startup, and began discussing what they wanted to do in this next chapter of their careers.
Google Photos on Wednesday announced a new AI-powered feature that will soon turn photos of your clothes into a digital closet where you can create new outfit ideas and even virtually try on your creations. Yes, the idea takes obvious inspiration from Cher's iconic virtual wardrobe featured in the movie Clueless, where she could scroll through her various ensembles while deciding what to wear. Google says the new feature will leverage AI technology to automatically create a copy of your wardrobe that's based on the pieces of clothing appearing in your Google Photos library. From the app, you'll be able to filter items by category, like tops, bottoms, jewellery, and more, then mix and match them to create different outfits.
The Pakistan embassy in Abu Dhabi has temporarily suspended passport processing services due to technical and maintenance issues affecting members of the Pakistani community in the United Arab Emirates. In an official notice, the embassy said passport-related services are currently unavailable and will remain suspended until further notice. It added that the community will be informed immediately once the service resumes.
And 2 Jewish men were stabbed on Wednesday in North London, and attack police declared a terrorist incident, and which follows a series of arson attacks targeting Jewish sites. King Charles III, Prime Minister Keir Starmer and London Mayor Sadiq Khan led the condemnation of the appalling assaults in Golders Green, which is home to a large Jewish population.
7 families of victims killed or injured in a mass shooting in Canada have filed lawsuits against OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman in a California court, accusing him and the company of ignoring the shooter's troubling interactions with ChatGPT. 8 people were killed, including 6 children, when 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar opened fire at a secondary school in the Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, in February. Oil prices have soared following reports that the US is preparing for an extended blockade of Iran. Brent crude rose to over $117.86.71 a barrel on Wednesday afternoon, the highest price so far this month, from just over $110 a barrel on Tuesday evening. Washington, D.C., the United States Supreme Court has begun to hear a case on whether the administration of President Donald Trump may strip the temporary legal status of hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians living in the country. The hearing on Wednesday at the country's highest court specifically concerns whether Trump may end temporary protected status, TPS, for citizens of the 2 countries, which is granted when it is deemed unsafe for individuals to return to their home countries.
Iran's national currency has plunged to new lows as authorities mobilize to dampen the impact of the naval blockade enforced by the United States. The Iranian rial shot above 81 million to the US dollar on the open market by early afternoon on Wednesday before partially recovering. The embattled currency changed hands for about 1.54 million earlier this week, and its rate was about 811,000 per US dollar a year ago.
And more than 1.2 million people in Lebanon are expected to face acute hunger this year due to conflict, displacement and economic pressures amid the latest war between Israel and Hezbollah, according to a United Nations-backed report. And the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Food Programme, WFP, and Lebanon's Ministry of Agriculture issued a joint statement on Wednesday saying that 1.24 million people were expected to face food insecurity at crisis levels or worse between April and August.
Kevin Warsh has passed a major hurdle to become the next chair of the United States Federal Reserve. Warsh, US President Donald Trump's handpicked choice to succeed current chairman Jerome Powell, whose term is set to end on May 15, was approved by the Senate Banking Committee on Wednesday.
Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on federal charges after posting an image of seashells arranged to spell @647 on Instagram. In a case that has raised concerns about the use of the United States justice system as a form of political retaliation, the charges were announced on Tuesday, with prosecutors accusing Comey of threatening US President Donald Trump and transmitting a threat in interstate commerce. Uber customers in the United States can now book hotels directly through the app, one of several new features announced Wednesday that pushes far beyond the company's original ride-hailing purpose and even deeper into its users' lives. Uber announced the new hotel booking feature on Wednesday during its product-heavy annual Go-Get event in New York City. At launch, Uber customers will have access to more than 700 views and hotels worldwide through a partnership with Expedia Group, the travel company that Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi led for 12 years.
And Roku's latest streaming bet is off to a solid start. Its affordable subscription service, Howdy, has now passed 1 million subscribers, according to data from research firm Antenna. And this is a notable milestone for a platform that's still pretty new, and suggests that it's striking a chord with viewers who are tired of paying for yet another expensive subscription. Launched in August 2025, and Howdy is Roku's first real push into paid, ad-free streaming. At just $2.99 a month, Howdy is aimed at people who want something extra to watch for a lower cost.
Islamabad. The Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, PMDC, on Wednesday directed all medical and dental institutions to implement structured mental health screening protocols in response to growing concerns over the increasing incidence of suicide and severe psychological distress among students. In a statement, the Council issued directives to all medical and dental institutions, emphasizing the critical importance of promoting and safeguarding the mental health of students and faculty.
And Russia's Victory Day parade in Moscow on the 9th of May will be scaled back this year because of a terrorist threat from Ukraine, the Kremlin has said. All measures are being taken to minimize the danger, said President Vladimir Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov.